I've found that photography books are my main source of inspiration as a photographer. For people that are just getting into the medium, or for people that want to get deeper into the medium, there aren't many things that I could recommend more than getting really into photography books. So in this video, I want to make a guide for how to get into photo books and how to use them to your advantage. Step number one, go to a library. Going to a library is going to be the best and quickest and easiest way for you to get a super diverse exposure to photo books. Being there at the library really just gave me good exposure to a lot of the history of photography. Step number two is to just pull random books off of the shelf. We all may have exposure to different names, different people in the history of photography, different artists, but at the end of the day, getting exposure to people that you've never heard of, work from places that you may have never heard of, and getting exposure to different genres and different substyles in the medium is so huge. And so I would recommend you just go into the photography section and see a book where the spine looks interesting, maybe the cover looks interesting, and don't take it any deeper than that. Just pull it off the shelf, find a nice spot, maybe bring a coffee with you, and just look through these books. I have discovered a lot of artists that I really enjoy and appreciate just by doing this. I did this last week. I was at the library and I came across a book, I believe it was called Sometime Chicago. It was by Yasuhiro Ishimoto, and it was such a cool exposure to both street photography and abstract printing. His process for everything was so unique and so inspiring. I'm going to go back and look at more of his work because I was so blown away by it. And I wouldn't have discovered it had I not just been like, red spine, and just took it from there. Step number three is to just get acquainted with the names on the shelf. Whether this is through studying things online, talking with other photographers about who they like, or even just spending time with the bookshelves and getting to know all the names on there, getting to know the work, the people, the backstories of the work. It is so important because I am a very big proponent for the idea that all art thrives in context. Like, I truly believe that, yes, there can be beautiful, very well done pieces of art, but the depth that you need is provided through context. And so whether this is by reading a biography, or reading an autobiography, or reading just more historical books on the medium and not specifically photo books. All of these things will help you get a better, deep understanding of the medium, of the artists within it, and of the work itself. Some of the best photographers in the history of the medium, we got Robert Frank, which I have right here, Henri Cartier-Bresson, Diane Arbus, Dorothy Lang, Joel Meyerowitz, Gary Winogrand, Ernst Haas, Todd Heido. There are so many names. Also, please, just putting it out there, women are very underrepresented in photography. Please seek out the work of other women. I'm trying to do that. I acknowledge that in this stack, I don't have any right now, but there are a few that I've been seeking out, and shout out to the Walkie Talkie series. Through a lot of the people that have been in those videos, I have been exposed to a lot of women photographers, particularly women street photographers. That is something that I really need to get more into. If you're watching this and a very specific photographer is coming to mind that you want people to know, comment it down below so people can get that exposure and they can look for them in their local libraries, bookstores, whatever. Step number four is to find a genre within the medium that really resonates with you. This is a super important thing because I've found that the times when I expose myself to strictly street photography is when I get too locked into a certain mindset and I don't allow myself more expression, more range within the style that I'm shooting. So even here within this stack, I feel like there's a decent spread. I mean, right here we have documentary photography from Robert Frank and Henri Cartier-Bresson. We have very straightforward street photography from Gary Winogrand and Joel Meyerowitz. I feel like all of these, in different, however abstract ways, they all contribute to the way that I will interpret a scene when I'm there with my camera. And The more that you look at these books, the more that you get exposed to different artists and to different styles, the more that those will contribute to you, even subconsciously, when you are out photographing. Step number 5 is to find one of those genres that really resonates with you and just go deep on it. I know I said that during the times when I got really into street photography photo books, I would get very locked into certain thought processes, very specific styles, but I feel like for you to truly understand all that a genre can provide, you really need to go in deep on this genre to really understand it. So then when you dial it back and you start looking at other genres again, those can contribute to your deep understanding of this particular genre. So for me, I've gotten really into architecture photography and I've gotten really into street photography. All of these things, as I was shooting on the streets and getting really into street photography, different photos would pop up in my head as inspiration, and a lot of the work that I've gotten just wouldn't exist had I not gone in super deep on this genre. Step number 6 is to find a local bookstore that is accessible to you and that you want to support. I cannot recommend enough finding a place to support, a place that you can go where they may remember you, a place where you know where to find new things on the shelves, a place that is just fun and nice for you to be at, a good just overall experience. For me, there are a couple spots in Seattle, but generally speaking, the place that I've found that I love the most and that I've bought a good amount of these books from was Powell's down in Portland, Oregon. Powell's is a massive bookstore, and their photography book section is unmatched compared to basically anywhere else that I've been, I guess, other than maybe the ICP in New York. For just a general bookstore, that is my place. Anytime I find myself in Portland, I go to Powell's and I spend 1, 2, 3 hours just wandering the photo book section, opening up, once again, random books on the shelves, seeing what's in there, and buying used books. There's something so fun. It's why I buy used vinyl as well, is knowing that somebody else spent time with these books, finding little notes that are written in there. Like when I bought this copy of The Americans by Robert Frank, there's this note in here that says, "To our very special friend whose eye never stops looking for beauty, happy birthday, love Brandon and Alexandra." Like, that's so fun, and you can't get that buying new books on Amazon. And also just Amazon. If you have to, I would recommend buying books that you cannot find locally on thrift books or through the ICP, the International Center of Photography. If you are going to support these bigger companies, support the ones that truly care about photography, like the ICP particularly. Shout out to Magus Books over in the U District here in Seattle. I bought a few books from them, very reasonably priced. Overall, pretty good selection there as well. And also it's just nice to support a bookstore that's like directly adjacent to the University of Washington. Shout out to Elliott Bay Books as well in Capitol Hill. They have a pretty good selection as well. Also just a very pleasant bookstore to be in. The cafe is amazing, but I digress. Step number 7 is to just be inspired. I think that is, above all else, the most important step of this entire process. And not only spending time with these books, spending time learning about these artists, these photographers, and getting to know their stories, getting to know the why behind any of these books, and just taking inspiration. For me, one thing that I do a lot when I am going through photo books like these is I just have my phone on me, and anytime I see a photo I like, I take a picture of the photo and then I add it to an album in my Photos app that is just my general inspiration folder. I find that that helps me keep things compartmentalized in my mind as well while I'm out shooting. It's not a photo book, but one book that I also recommend is The Creative Act by Rygh Rubin. It just comes to mind for me right now because there is a portion in that where he talks about an artist as being a filter. And what he means by that is, we are consistently consuming information, no matter where we are or what we're doing. What's important as artists is that we serve as very diligent filters for this information. Because if we just let any information go through, it may make our work worse. And so being very specific about the work that you consume and how you let it influence you is very important. For me, I feel like all art is just about seeing what other people have done seeing things that you enjoy, that you appreciate, and saying, I'd like to try and make that, but give it my own twist. And so that's what a lot of this is just taking in this work, seeing what sticks with you, and seeing how you can build upon that. Lastly, step number 8 is just repeat. Do all of this all over again. Maybe go to a new library or a new bookstore, or even go into a different artistic medium and do the same exact thing, and just go through, take inspiration from what you find a new photographer that you like, find a new subgenre that you like, and just keep being inspired. So anyways, I hope this has been helpful.